Yo, what's going on, guys? Sekapoko here, bringing you another 7 Daily Sins Grand Cross video. This one we're going to be going over what units could possibly be coming out in May 2020. The first thing we got is Eskin are coming out early, and the second thing is we have our first Step Up in are coming tonight. We'll get information about that soon, so I may be pulling on that tomorrow at 6 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, so if you want to check that out, that's when I will be pulling. The polls usually start at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. The stream starts at 6 a.m., so if you want to join, if it's a good pull-up, Step Up in, I'll be pulling on that. I'll announce on the news video tonight if I'm going to be pulling or not. But thank you guys for watching. Without further ado, let's go and jump right into it. So last night, it occurred to me that none of you guys may know what these characters do. So let's go into Green Lilia, and I may have gone over them and what they do in like a spreadsheet and everything, but I guess I'll just showcase a little bit about what they do and how they look in the game, so you guys can kind of see exactly what to expect with these characters. And I'm just gonna use like 3-star abilities as well as ultimates for some of these characters. So this one's Green Lilia. 3-star ability here for her attack. It's going to do 300% attack, and it's going to reduce attack-related stats by 40%. The second ability she has here is going to be increase damage taken from enemies by 50%, and it goes from 20, 30 to 50. And then her ultimate ability, as you can see here, going to do big PP damage at 525% damage. So not the biggest damage in the world, but does the damage, and it also D-ranks just like Hauser's ultimate ability. And her passive is going to decrease allies' attack by 16% in PvP. We can go ahead and watch the ulti animation. I think it's actually, she has one of the best ulti animations in the entire game, to be perfectly honest. Like, look at it, the heavens open up and she's like dropping a freaking meteor on people. Like, what is this? This is awesome. Whoever decided on this ultimate animation, is probably one of the best designed ones in the entire game. And that was probably one of the big heights about her. And you can see she did significantly less damage when you don't have that damage increase on the enemy. Next up we got Blue Liz. And Blue Liz is going to be this cosmetic, by the way. I know that's the thing you're going to ask most of the questions, the comments, is I'm going to use the 1-star too. So you see the 1-star, it's just going to apply the debuff, but like no, do 0 damage. And the cosmetic, by the way, this is free to play. This is a 100% free to play cosmetic. So if you are interested in acquiring this cosmetic, of course, it is free to play. And then she has the exact same ultimate as the Green Liz. So Green SSR Liz, same exact ultimate animation and combo classic ultimation. So if you are looking to use that, it does look good with this cosmetic. And the cosmetic comes from Final Boss Meliodas and Elizabeth. Yes, 100% free to play. Best free to play cosmetic in the game. Next up, we have Green SSR Rimuru, and this is my son's favorite character in the entire game. No cap, like legitimately, like he doesn't care about anybody in some sense except for Rimuru. Like, he only cares about Rimuru because it's a slime. Rimuru has the same abilities as Green SSR Liz, so it's gonna be the same first ability as Green SSR Liz. And the heal ability, as you saw here, it's gonna be actually a single target heal for the first heal. It's gonna be 300%, 300%, and then all allies 300%. So it goes 300% and then grants debuff immunity to 1 character heal, and then does that. And then finally, on the ultimate animation for Rimuru, it's gonna be his Rimuru Tempest kind of deal. It does 630% at starting and 945% at ending. And during this line collab, we actually got this ultimate up for free, and it's super nice. His passive ability is actually just like Red SR Liz, and you can use it from the backline. So that's a super nice pass. It heals 5% of all allies' HP, diminished HP at the end of the start of your turn. The Liz is better, but you know, you can whatever. Next up, we have the Blue Rimuru, and this character is going to have a Rupture base attack. This character actually has the same attack as Blue Matrona Diane, and because it has the same attack as Blue Matrona Diane, the issue, actually the thing that's way better about this one is that the Rupture base attack, where it does 2 times against damage enemies with buffs, is going to be way better with the Rimuru than it is with Matrona Diane, because it actually has way less hits. And I went over this in the previous video. Any ability with Rupture or the ability to do 2 times damage against buffed enemies is actually better with less hits, because on the following hits after it does damage, if there's a shield on an enemy, it's going to break the shield initially, and then whatever hits are after you break the shield, that will actually do reduced damage. So that's really annoying. His second ability has this taunt thing where on the first rank it does just a stance with debuff immunity, and 30% for diminished HP heal. The second rank is going to do a taunt and that same thing. And the third rank of it, it's going to do taunt as well as grant debuff immunity for 2 turns. And as you can see, the debuff immunity on this time around is actually a stance debuff immunity. So you can only cleanse it off with a stance remover, which is really interesting. This is the only ability in the entire game that has debuff immunity as a stance. So as far as characters go, Rimuru has a unique type of buff on himself, because the other abilities in the game have buff abilities for the debuff immunity, whereas Rimuru has a stance ability for the debuff immunity. And here we go for this Rimuru's ultimate. It's going to cancel all buffs and stances on one enemy, inflict damage equal to 490% attack, and then stun the enemy for 1 turn. And then, yo, thanks for the follow. I'm always recording, and it's always funny to see like people come in and play the Twitch stream and follow, and I just have the alerts on this window. We got Rimuru's Fate combination with Meliodas. Well, the thing about the slime units is they had a really good set of animations. Like they did a great job with this collab, and this is probably one of my favorite ones that they did. Like just throwing Meliodas in with the DMS, and then it's just good. It's just good. Overall, I love it. Just it does increase damage. It's just more damage. It's good. Next up, we got Milim. Her passive ability is going to increase critical damage by 8% per skill used up to 10 different times. So you can kind of see that she just ramps her crit over time. She can use 1-star abilities real quick. You can kind of see the crits get a little bit bigger every single time. Unfortunately, it just takes way too long to ramp up this crit damage. And she would be way better if she had like another ability. And there's actually a unit that does this a lot better than her over time. And so her main issue, she starts at like 120% critical damage, and then she ramps over time. It's like a combo attack here. It's like Derriere, but like way worse. So her first ability has Spike too. So it's like all her damage is like on this first ability here, Kablamo, on the Spike attack. But unfortunately, as you can see, it only does like 62,000 damage. It does ramp over time, and if you go with the full like attack crit damage build on her, it does ramp okay, but the amount of time, as you can see, it takes to ramp to that point is just way too long. Her second ability is going to disable ultimate moves on on one enemy for the rank 1, and then on rank 2, it's going to disable ultimate moves for 1 turn, as well as do 200% damage. So the difference between the rank 1 is that 60%, it does like almost no damage, and sometimes actually gets completely patience by enemies, because it's a 60% attack move. And the second ability is at 200% damage, but won't get patience by enemies, because at 200%. And then the final, which is on 200% on all enemies, which is just an area effect ability on everybody to disable ultimates for 2 turns. Her ultimate ability is going to be a detonate ability. It's the first ability with detonate, I believe, in the game, which increases the amount of damage that you deal on her ultimate by 15% per ultimate orb. So it's kind of like the same way Blue Liz does, but instead of per buff, it's per ultimate gauge the enemy has, and it caps at 5, obviously. And then it'll cap at 5 per enemy ultimate gauge. So like I think it'll be the damage will be calculated uniquely. So like if there's multiple enemies on the field and you're using the ultimate here, it will only apply the ultimate gauge damage versus that enemy specifically. So if one enemy has like 2 ultimate gauge and the other one has 5, I think it applies the 2 on one enemy and then the 5 on the other enemy. Just like as far as the multiplier of how many 15% stacks you get. Next up, we got Benimaru, and Benimaru, as you can see, it's really, really weak without a debuff. So it only on a 3-star ability, 19,000. But his first ability has weak points. So we're going to use the second ability, which is going to decrease defense-related stats on all enemies by 40%. And then use his 3-star ability again, and we're going to see the damage that he's going to deal. Kablamo! You can see the damage like triples. So definitely way better when you get some crits on Benimaru. Unfortunately, since it's a weak point ability, you're not going to see amazing damage off critical strikes. It's just going to exacerbate the damage in general, and that's pretty good. But Benimaru's passive ability increases his damage by each skill used by 3%. And as you can see, if I just continuously use abilities here, I'll be at 18,000 this time. And you can kind of see his damage ramp up. He hits 3% more damage per turn, and it goes up really slowly. You can't actually like see the stacks on Benimaru right now, but you can see. Like, it's not really, like 3% damage is really hard to see the damage increase over time. It takes, the problem with these like increased damage over time abilities is it'd be really cool for like a long event where you take like almost no damage. the entire time, and you get the 30% increased damage or whatever. It caps it, I think, at 10 times, but I'm not sure. His ultimate ability is the same as Lilia's and Hauser's, I believe. And it does it's actually just a single target, but it does 560% of damage against one enemy and decreases skill ranks on that one enemy, and it depletes ultimate move by the number of skill ranks decreased. Honestly, it's like, it feels weak because you're using it as a single target ability versus like an area effect ability, and it looks cool as fuck. But it's really weak because it starts at 560% damage. So that sucks. All right, next on the list, we're gonna have Green Matrona Diane. And Green Matrona Diane has the passive ability that's going to increase all allies' defense-related stats by 10% per debuff on the hero. So if you were like use a Red Slater against this Diane, the entire enemy team would receive 50% defense-related stats. Unfortunately, that never fucking happens. So what you gonna do? I've also tried to pair this with a Melascula commandment, and it just doesn't work. You just can't get stacks on this. This is impossible. This unit is utter dog shit. The first ability here is gonna do 150% damage to 375% damage, so it's basically the exact same as Twigad. So if you want to know how much damage this character does, this is basically green version Twigad. This is the AoE version of Twigad's attack. The second ability here is going to do 140% attack on enemies all the way up to 250, but it cancels all stances on enemies, which is like good never. Maybe good against Estarossa once in a blue moon, I guess, but yeah, it's pretty trash. And then the ultimate ability is the same as the Matrona Diane, the giant Diane that we have in the coin shop. The exact same ultimate. If you want to use the Grimoire combination attack, you can use that. It goes from 525% all the way up to 900%. It's just raw attack damage. Unfortunately, though, you're not going to get the 30% attack boost that you're going to get over 5 turns with the regular blue Diane. So you're going to get significantantly less damage on this ultimate Diane ability. Overall, this character is pretty fucking dog shit. Even though she has 2 attack skill based area effect attacks, she's next up. We got the goddess Blue Lilia, and I know like a lot of people are speculating about who it could be, so Blue Lilia, let's just throw it up right here right now. Blue Lilia, if you didn't know, it's going to have ability that's going to be an area effect attack that's going to be the exact same as Green Elaine's. It's going to deplete everything on the enemy field's ultimate gauge by 1, 2, or 0, 1, and 3 ultimate gauge, depending on the rank you use. And then it's also going to have a heal that's going to be the exact same thing as Green Elizabeth, where it does 200%, 240, as well as 400% attack based on the amount of attack Lilia has. And then she has the exact same ultimate animation as well as ability as the Green Lilia, going from 350% all the way up to 520%. And it's the same as Hauser's, where you're decreasing skill ranks. So the exact same thing. The main reason people like this character, of course, is because of her passive, and it increases all allies' pierce rate by 50% of the value of the hero's pierce rate, and when it applies when entering the battle. So if she has, say, 100% pierce rate, she's going to give all allies plus 50% pierce rate. And this will apply to their abilities, etc. And that's why pierce teams are so strong. Unless we got Blue Merlin, who is going to have a passive ability that's going to increase the hero's attack by 2% per debuff on enemies or debuff on allies. I'm actually not sure. I've been trying to figure this out for the longest time, and no one's ever told me. And like I see different translations everywhere, so I'm not sure. It might be on enemies, it might be on allies. Let's find out. Let's see, I did how much there? All right, and then we do another attack, and does it do a lot more? I did 39,000 that time. Okay, so let's reset it, and then how much damage do I do now? With no debuffs on enemies? How much damage do I do? Let's find out, okay? 47,000. I feel like I do more damage. I don't feel like my damage is increasing. I don't know. All right, so you know what? Let's test a 1-star versus these, right? So we're testing a 1-star. The 1-star does 26,000. Let's reset it, right? And then we use another 1-star. 26,000. I think it's debuff. I'm pretty sure this is wrong, and it's debuffs on herself. I'm pretty sure that's the case, because the damage doesn't seem to go up at all with debuffs on enemies. I feel like the passive is not working as described here. The first ability, by the way, is going to be 180%, 180%, and 300% on the damage, and it's going to disable, as you can see, everything but attack skills. It's the exact same debuff set as Red Slater, but -1 ability here. I'm not sure what that is. Right. Second ability is a skill D rank, and this is actually a really interesting ability because this is an area effect skill D ranker. So the first ability is also going to D rank all enemy skills. So if you wanted to like counter Gothers, this is actually a kind of a Gother counter character, and what it does is every time that you're using this character, you get all you do is just you consistently D-rank the skills. So anytime you get this ability, you can just D-rank all enemy abilities. It's literally an area effect attack that D-ranks everything. So it goes 100, 200%, and 250% to D-rank all enemies. And she has the exact same ultimate animation as Green Merlin, as well as Red Merlin, so there's no major differences between the two. It does 540% all the way up to 810, and then with the Fate combination or combo attack, it's going to be 630 to 945. The exact same ultimate for everything. Overall, this character has been like shit on forever and ever and ever. And if you ever see a rampant Gother meta, I guess you could use this character as a D ranker, just to D rank all enemy skills. So you would probably just do that. But I don't know what I would do with this character, to be honest. I mean, maybe with a Gother rank up and a rank 2 and then just D-rank all enemy skills and get everything done. I mean, there's a lot of options, but she's pretty shit. Next up, we got Melascula. What's up, girl? How you doing? Melascula has a really good passive. She's going to increase her basic stats of the hero by 1% for each ultimate gauge on all allies and enemies. So if you have, say, 6 characters on the field, that's a maximum 30% stat gain that she can get. It varies throughout the entire fight. First ability is going to be the same as Demon Meliodas' ability for his second ability, where it does that infect thing on the enemies, where he stabs them with a sword. That's the exact same ability as that. And the second ability has Detonate with area effect attack. It's going to do 100 to 250% damage and do extra damage based on the ultimate gauge the enemy has. So this ability will actually do massive damage against enemies, and it's very, very strong. And her ultimate ability is going to be the same as, I believe, Blue Hendrickson's, where it's going to deal damage to the enemies as well as lifesteal 40% of her HP. And the thing about this character I think is really good, she has really good substats. 60% pierce rate, 10% resistance is really low, but 60% pierce rate is really high. And then she has 80% critical defense. So against crit meta, she does very well. So she's actually kind of an interesting character that I've wanted to play around with for a long time, but never had the opportunity. The only reason I'm thinking this character is a possibility is because Gallant came to the game, and Gallant and Melascula came at about the same time around. This, you know what I'm talking about, Escanor, Melascula, all that shit, and then, you know, Escanor will be, you know. So I mean, maybe Melascula, maybe, I don't know. Next up, Valenti. Valenti is the second OC to ever come to the game for a different character. There was Green and Blue Lilia, obviously, too, but like this is the second original character to ever come to the game, and this character is really good, really good. This first ability is going to decrease all enemy defensive skills by 180. This first ability is going to do 180% attack and decrease all enemies' defensive skills by 20, 30, and 40%. It's the exact same thing as Green Lizhawk's ability. I know a lot of you hate that character, but she's really good for this specific thing. And the second ability is an area effect attack that does 120, 120, and 150% attack and decrease all enemies' attack skills by 0, 20%, and 30% by the end of it. And then her ultimate ability is a single target ability that has burst. And because it has burst, it actually will do double damage against any enemies that have buffs. So if you've got a Merlin shield on, it actually will do double damage against Merlin shields. So it's a single target hit too, so it does massive damage. The main reason that people like this character is because of her ultimate ability, her passive ability. Her passive ability is going to decrease all enemies' pierce rate by the value of this hero's resistance rate at the start of the value. So it's the direct counter to Blue Lilia. And the reason I'm going over this character in general is because eventually this is going to be the character that counters Blue Lilia very, very heavily. And I believe the last thing we're going to be over today is going to be Green Matrona Diane. And the reason we're going over this character is because she was actually released simultaneously with Escanor on his release. And this character is going to be a very interesting character because she did like define the meta for like a week or two. And that's just right before Blue Lilia came out. So a lot of people, of course, skip over here because they forget. But Green Matrona Diane has the first ability, which is going to deal double chance to crit. And Green Matrona Diane has already 30% chance to crit. So, I mean, 60% when you double it, not bad. Her second ability is going to be a huge taunt. And it's going to just put a defensive skill on defense-related stats by herself by 80, 120, and 200%. So on Matrona Diane, she gets insane defensive stats because of that. She could actually see what her defensive stats are right now. Her first ability here, or ultimate ability, is the same as the other two Matrona Dianes here, and they're just going to do damage to the enemy as well as, you know, have a super nice animation. Because Matrona Diane is, you know. Okay, but it has Pierce and does 560% damage as well as 640 on the Fate combo with Hauser, and really good ultimate. The passive ability for this character is she's going to taunt all enemies right as she enters the room. And because of that, she's going to create a barrier on herself that's equal to 300% of her defense at the start of the battle. So one of the actual builds for this character is a full defense build on Diane. You literally go 3-3-3 defense. So you basically have 6 pieces of defense gear on her, and that increases your damage significantly. All right, so we got Matrona Diane here. One of the things that's really interesting about her is that, you know, right now she has a shield on, and the shield is going to be based off her defense. So right now it's going to be 300% of her defense, which is going to be equivalent to 300% times this value over here. And now, if one of the things that's interesting, if I drop a Merlin shield, I'm going to see what happens here. Kablam, kablam, and kablam. They'll drop a Merlin shield, and boom, instantly breaks her taunt, and it completely removes her ability to have the passive. So the initial passive is completely negated by Merlin shield. We have the 3-star defensive skill ability, and go into Matrona Diane. You can see it. She has 35,000 defense. She'll have 259% critical resistance, 255% critical defense, and 200% resistance rate, while also taunting enemies. So the only way to get rid of this ability, by the way, is with a cleanse. With a 35,000 defensive ability with all these other defensive stacks, she's going to be tanking like a truck. Especially if you go triple defense on this character, she's insane. Like the amount of resistance value, you have your 225% with all these other defensive stats. That's a huge amount of resistance, critical defense, and everything else, while also taunting enemies. Now she's the taunt queen, and this is why she is so good, because her ability to taunt everybody. So if she comes to the game, this would be incredible. Alright guys, well, my name is Sekapoko. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did enjoy the video, of course, like and subscribe, all the fun stuff. Thank you for watching the channel so far. We're almost at 30,000 subscribers. I haven't really decided what we're going to do at 30K, but I have to come up with something. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and hopefully I'll figure it out by then. Bye guys!